Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. Thanks for making space in your day. Spend time with us. I'm going to go ahead and take those off because usually when I have them on, I notice that I get at least a little annoyed. What's going on with the camera, by the way? There we go. Earlier today I was thinking about talking about something, and then, life happens and you end up in a very different place than when you were thinking about things earlier. And the only reason I'm saying this is because I'm just a touch frustrated right now. And I want to ask a question. Are you a helpful person? There are two types of people, and I'm just gonna tell you right out front, I'm the latter. There are people who now, I should preface this by saying this: different settings, things can be different. But let me just start by saying that my wife and I have been married for a while. And there are things that we know about each other, but we don't realize that those things persist because we think at some point somebody's going to one of us is going to grow out of them, and we just never have. And so my wife is a person that, like I said, I don't know. So in our house, my wife, she does a lot. And but she also takes upon herself a lot. And we're never in a situation where I'm the one doing a lot. It's always her, because she's the person that has all of these things that she wants to get done. And I have no problem with that. But the conflict in our marriage comes because I don't see her struggling, right? And the issue is, I know that she has things that she wants done in very particular ways. And so I'm the type of person who's like, if you need my help, just ask. That's all you gotta do is ask. You need my help. What do you need? Just ask me. My wife is the type of person, she hardly ever asks for help. Somehow, amongst everything we have going on, I'm just supposed to be able to see that she's struggling and know that she needs help and offer said help. Let me once again preface this by saying she has a very particular way that she wants stuff done. And so because of this, I don't offer. I mean, because my whole thing is like, if you need my help, all you got to do is ask. Just tell me what you want done. And the problem is, sometimes when I start doing this, and even when I will offer, I won't do it the way she wants it done. And so inevitably, she has to come behind me and fix it, because she never, even though my wife is a very, like I think I've talked about how there are two types of people who learn directly and people who can learn subtly. My wife is the person that needs you to tell her, do this. And usually when I tell her to do that, I need some help, I'm just telling her literally to give me the help. If it doesn't go the way I want, I'm okay with fixing it. But my wife, because she has so much other stuff going on, when she offers you to help, she obviously needs it, but she doesn't explain how she wants you to help. And because of this, there's friction that I believe doesn't need to be there. And yet it's there nonetheless. You get the hun right. And so, as you can imagine, I tend to be a person that doesn't ask for her help. Either I do, and then I know that I'm going to screw it up. But she has a tendency to switch stuff up in the middle of things. And you're supposed to be able to roll with the punches, even though. And it's just frustrating because it's a layer of stuff that just, it's not needed. And it's not productive. And it's frustrating when you come across those times. And generally speaking, this is not the truth by any means, but generally speaking, they have a way of making you feel like, because you're not understanding what they're saying, that it's your fault. And this isn't just true of women. It's not exclusive to women, I guess I would say, but it's. And then but people also have a place of nostalgia. Like, I grew up in the South. My entire family's in the South, except for the people that live in this house. And so I've not been around the influence that I grew up with, by and large part, since I moved to the Midwest. And so that means a lot of the parental influences that I had in my life, I don't have on my life now. And the problem is, my wife, there are times that I don't think that she realizes how deep the parental ties that she has runs, because I keep seeing her retreat into those parental ties time and time again. And if they're good parental ties, it can be very constructive and it can be very good. And there are a lot about my in-laws that I like. But with that comes the bad. And far too often, we can retreat into those bad qualities and try to make them our identity. This is something that I see happening just over and over and over in my life. And it's a very hard thing to deal with, because generally speaking, nobody wants to deal with it. Generally speaking, people would just rather sweep it under the rug than deal with it. And the reason for this, I believe, is because they don't want to have to admit that they're the issue. I'm not saying that I'm perfect by any stretch of the imagination. Just that these are things that I'm aware of about myself that I've intentionally cut out of my life. I mean, my father is passed on. My mother is there's a lot of my mother that is exactly the same from high school that I did not know, that I did not notice when I was growing up living with her. And it's not been until I've been very, very much older that I've noticed that she hasn't changed much. I mean, like when I was young and I lived in the same house as her, you know, she adjusted fine. But the second half of her life, after her and my dad got divorced, she has reverted back into a person that I really don't recognize, because it's not the same person that I grew up with. And why am I saying this? Well, because it's very hard to break through to people when you don't notice your own shortcomings. And this is something that I've struggled with for many years. Many years. And I keep thinking that I've made positive steps into eliminating this. And then something will just come out of nowhere and just kind of torpedo everything that I thought was happening. When that happens, it can be very It can be extremely destructive. What do I need? What? Oh, these. It can be extremely destructive. And so if you're a young person, like if you're in your in 1920, something like that, I want you to take what you need to do is you need to take a very extensive look at yourself and look at the things that you're not that you're not good on, and improve those. Work on improving those. What you want to do is, if you're in a relationship, and I cannot tell you how early this is to be successful. If you can tell the other person, hey, I know I have this issue, and I want you to know, here's what I see that it's wrong with it. Here's what I see that it's doing to our relationship. And this is what I'm trying to do to fix that. Is there anything that you see that you might need to work on? And don't point out what you think the problem is, but listen to them and try to learn and try to help them through whatever it is that they say that they think that their big issue is. If to you there are positive aspects of said issue, of what they think their issue is, feel free to point that out if they ask for the feedback. But if they just want you to listen, and this is something that I still struggle with, is you have to be able to ascertain, and this is probably the trickiest, if not, it's very tricky to discern. You have to be able to figure out, do they want your help? Do they want you to offer a fix? Because what I find that my wife does is that she was just talking, and she won't tell me until I've offered the solution. Only then will she volunteer that she didn't want me to help her fix it, which is super helpful. It's just exactly like the not asking for help, or the asking for help, and then, or you wanting to help and then it not being the right way. And these are issues that I've struggled with for years. And they just feel like they're never going to stop. Because where we are is we don't have a lot of free time, right? Because, like my wife, she began putting our daughter to bed at 6:30, 7 o'clock. It took her 2 hours to get her to go to sleep. And then, took a shower. I went in there to talk to her. She tells me how tired she is. But then she proceeds to talk about this issue for like an hour, if not longer. Which is why it's 1:30. It's 1 o'clock when I started this video. Was because. And so I'm sitting here listening, thinking that she wants an answer. And so at the time I offer a solution and she's like, I don't want you to listen. And it's like, well then, if you're tired, why don't you just go to sleep? And she's like, you know, that's the way my mind works. And it's like, either you want to talk this out or do you want to go to bed? To me, it's like, if you want to talk it out, then let's talk it out. But if you want to go to sleep, don't be mad at me because you're tired and yet you want to talk this out. Because you could go to bed and then we could talk this out whenever. And she's like, well, we don't have that kind of time because, you know, I spent 2 hours up here putting her to bed. And then, you know, I won't see you for the next 2 days because the gig. And the next thing I know, it'll be Thursday. And, you know, we'll be on to something else. And I'm like, and what I'm trying to figure out is like, so either you want to talk about it or you want to go to sleep. Don't come at me yelling and saying that you want to go to sleep, which is what you've been saying that you wanted to do for the past hour, but yet you still continue to talk. That don't make any sense. But therein lies the problem, right? Why are you making me do this if I finished this already? And so I just want to encourage you, if you can figure out what it is and you can, and like, it's very hard unless you have a relationship with Jesus to be able to know where to start with you. But if you can just pause, really take a look at yourself and try to internalize what issues you might have. What are things that you know are bad about you, and try to fix them. And then try to have the conversation with, you know, your significant other. Because the earlier you can do that, the better off you're going to be. Anyway, I'm pretty much done. I'm just going to do Conquest, which I know you're super excited to see. But yeah, let me know what you think. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, I'm always here. And just let me know. Is there anything you'd like to think about or like to talk about? Just let me know. As far as the farm goes, we'll get places eventually. And it's like, I don't know when that's going to be. Anyway, God bless. Hold the line. And I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.